What's up guys, Paul here from Ecommerce Gold, and in this video I'm going to be comparing two very popular options when it comes to creating an e-commerce website here in the UK, and they are ShopWired and Shopify. And for this comparison I'm going to be looking at the pricing, the performance, what they're like to use, and also the support options that are available for you as the user. Now I'm not going to be covering features because I've already done that in their separate review videos, which I'll leave in the card above, and I'll also leave a link in the description below. I'll also leave a link in the description below to my full written comparison of both the platforms, because there's stuff in there that I'm not going to cover in this video because this video would just go on forever and ever if I went over everything. So for anything that I haven't covered in this video, I will have covered it in the written review, so go and check that out. So with that said, let's jump into my computer and get this comparison started. Now, as I said, the first thing we're going to be talking about is the pricing of these two platforms. Now, they are very similar in terms of pricing because they're both around that £30 a month mark. Now, ShopWired comes in at £29.95 a month, but you do have to add VAT on that if you're not a VAT registered company here in the UK. Shopify, on the other hand, comes in at $29 a month, which means with conversion rates, it is going to work out slightly cheaper on a monthly basis, but your price will fluctuate slightly every month due to the aforementioned conversion rate because it changes on a daily basis. But when it comes to the pricing, both companies operate a different pricing structure because ShopWired operates on a tiered pricing structure. And what this means is when you hit certain turnover limits, so £75,000 is the turnover limit for their basic package, you're automatically moved onto their larger package. And what this enables you to do is get more access to resources, features, and also better support options over the basic package. Whereas Shopify operate on a fixed pricing structure, but there is a bit of a caveat to that, and that is their transaction fee, because on all of their packages they charge a transaction fee, and on their basic package this is a 2% transaction fee. And almost as an incentive, as a way to move up onto their larger packages, this does reduce as you move up. So it reduces to 1% on their Shopify standard package, and on their advanced package it drops to 0.5%. So this is their kind of incentive compared to the tiered structure that ShopWired use to get you to move on and move up through the packages. But for this comparison, I'm mainly going to be focusing on their basic introductory packages because that's where most people are going to be starting. So what do you get for your money? Well, with ShopWired, you get up to 750 products that you can list. And for most small e-commerce businesses, this is going to be more than enough. As I already said, you get up to £75,000 allowance when it comes to turnover. When you go over this, you're automatically moved up to that next package. But with these packages, you don't get charged any additional transaction fees over the ones you get charged from your payment gateway. So that is one good thing. Plus you get unlimited data storage, free SSL certificate, and standard UK support. With Shopify, on the other hand, there are no product limits, so you could have tens of thousands of products on the basic package if you wanted to. There's also no turnover limit, but you do have that transaction fee that I've already talked about. You also get unlimited data storage, free SSL, and 24/7 support, and I'm going to cover the support a little bit more later on in the video. So with the pricing out of the way, let's have a look at the performance of these two platforms, because it's a really important thing when it comes to choosing the e-commerce platform is how good are they on their performance, how good is the hosting environment that your website is going to be built on. Well, both companies actually do really, really well, but what they offer is unlimited bandwidth, unlimited storage, PCI compliant servers, and a global content delivery network. This is available on both platforms. Now, Shopify have built their own infrastructure, whereas ShopWired is actually built off Amazon's web services, which is one of the most reliable hosting environments in the world, and lots of big companies use it, so they've definitely chose a good option with that. And they also offer a minimum of 99.9% uptime, which is good because you want to know that your site's working when you're not looking at it, because if it's not reliable, it's not good for an e-commerce website. But even though all this is great on paper, I don't like to take these companies on their word. I like to test them out. So what I did with both platforms was I took 3 of their customer example sites and ran them through Pingdom's speed test tool on their London server once a day for 3 days to get a nice spread of information. And these were the results. Now, as you can see, both platforms performed really, really well. They were both well under that golden 2-second time that you want an e-commerce website to load in. And what I think is really good, especially with Shopify, is the majority of Shopify sites are actually hosted in the US. And this was on a London-based server that I ran these tests, and they got an average load time of 1.60 seconds. But ShopWired did win on the Amazon Web Services platform and got an average load time of 1.44 seconds. And if you look at the actual averages for the website, ShopWired was a bit more consistent across their websites. There was a less of a gap between the three websites, whereas Shopify had a slightly larger gap, with one website coming in at 2.36 average, the other one coming in at 1.04. It's not a massive gap, but it does show that ShopWired is a little bit more consistent on their load times. Now, with the websites that I did use for testing, I made sure that they was all in the same niche and all had similar levels of content on the site, so it was a nice, even, fair test. But honestly, with either platform, you haven't got to worry about anything when it comes to the hosting or performance. Both are going to do really, really well. Now, the next thing I'm going to talk about is how easy these platforms are to use. And both of them are really easy to get started with because they both offer a 14-day free trial. And I'll leave my partner links in the description below so you can go and try them out for yourself. And I do recommend anybody does that before committing to a platform. Go and try as many as you can so you find the one that's right for you and your business. Because even though I do try and cover as much as I can in these reviews and comparisons, it's still not the same as getting your hands on the system themselves and trying it out for yourself. So ShopWired is really easy to get started with because you just go to the ShopWired website. As I said, the link is in the description below so you can go and check it out for yourself. Go onto it, go through the sign up process. All you need is your email address and to create a password and you are good to go. Once you're taken through to your ShopWired dashboard, you'll be taken through to the tutorial. Now, this is a really good tutorial in my opinion because it takes you through pretty much everything you need to do in order to get your website set up. Things like set up your business information, create a category, create a product, set up your checkouts, so set up your payment gateways, things like that. Choose a theme, then go live. Now, the only thing that's missing for me here is to set up your legal information, and this is things like your privacy policy and terms and conditions. But this is something that every e-commerce platform seems to miss out on. I don't know why, because especially here in the UK and the EU, these are legal requirements. So why these aren't part of your setup process, I do not know. But the setup process is really good, and as I say, it takes you through pretty much everything you need to do in order to get your site set up properly, except for setting up your pages. But the dashboard itself is actually a really nice place to be, and it's really well laid out. You've got really well labeled headings here. Now, you do have to scroll down a bit within the navigation bar to see all of the settings, but everything is clearly labeled and it really doesn't take a long time to get yourself adjusted to the platform and navigating around it really quickly. It's very well laid out and it's got a very easy workflow to it. There's nothing that's really complicated when it comes to the ShopWired dashboard. But what about Shopify? Well, Shopify, once again, is very easy to get started. You just go onto the Shopify website. Once again, the link is in the description below. Fill out the sign up form, which is your email address, and create a password. You'll then be asked a few questions about where your business is at, so whether you're just getting started or you're already in business, because it helps Shopify tailor the dashboard a little bit more to you and where your business is at to give you the right help and assistance to help you get up and running properly. Now, once you've completed the sign up process and answered all the questions, you'll be taken into your Shopify dashboard, which will look pretty much exactly like it does on the screen right now. And you'll be greeted by this setup guide, which in my opinion is a little bit on the light side because it doesn't include anything to set up your delivery methods or set up your business pages. So once again, it's a little bit too light for me. But the one thing I do like about Shopify is if you click on this Learn More About Getting Started button, you're actually taken to a video series to help you get set up and get started. And there's a total of 27 lessons, which 27 videos, which take about an hour and a half to do. And you work your way through them, and there's some really good information in there. And they're all done by this lovely lady here, who's actually got her own Shopify store as well as working for Shopify. So she really does know what she's talking about, and there's lots of useful information and a few hints and tips in there as well. So it's definitely worth watching through these videos if you're just getting started with Shopify, because it will give you lots of useful information. So with the setup guide out of the way, what's the Shopify dashboard like to use? Well, I really like the Shopify dashboard because it's got a very minimalist feel to it. As you can see, it's not overcrowded, there's not too much going on, and all the headings are clearly labeled. And this makes it really quick and really easy to get used to. And it really doesn't take long to get up to speed with the Shopify dashboard, and within no time you'll be quickly navigating between where you need to go within the Shopify admin area. So I really like it. I think it's one of the best dashboards out there just because it's so simplistic and so easy to use. So with the getting started out of the way, I'm going to look at what it's like to actually use this from an e-commerce basis. So what I'm going to look at is what it's like to add and organize your products, what it's like to manage your orders, and what it's like to customize your website, because those are three really important elements when it comes to building the site and also running a site on a day-to-day basis. So what's it like to manage your inventory within ShopWired? Well, actually it's really simple to do. So you just go into your ShopWired dashboard, navigate to products, and then you'll see this selection of subcategories come up, which include your products and your categories. And this makes it really simple and really easy to manage your inventory. So if you want to create a new product, click on the new product button and it will bring up this single page layout, which has got a really good workflow to it in my opinion, because it's just a logical way of working through adding a new product. So you start with your product name and your description. You can select if you want it to be a digital product, and it offers you the chance to upload a file to that product. Then you've got your images, your categories, your pricing, your inventory management, and then you can go on create additional information, related products, variations, things like that. It's just got a really good workflow to it, and it doesn't take long to get used to using this page. It's a very simple layout and it doesn't overcomplicate things like some e-commerce platforms do. So once you've gone through and created your products, you want to organize your products. Now this is really important, not only from your perspective as creating a good product hierarchy, but it's also going to help your customers as well, because they're going to find it easier to navigate around your site. Now this is really simple and really easy to do in ShopWired, because they've gone on a basic category system. And when you go on to create a new category, it brings up a very similar page to the product creation page. And you've got a few options here, and then one thing you can do is you can select whether you want it to be a parent category or you want it to be a child category. So say if you was doing men's clothing, you can then create subcategories such as men's t-shirts, men's jeans, men's shorts, things like that as an example. So this makes it really easy to organize your inventory. So what about actually managing your inventory? What about managing the stock levels? Well, within ShopWired, they have this section called Manage Stock. And what this allows you to do is quickly and easily update your stock quantities by just clicking on the quantity button here. It'll bring up an editable box where you can quickly and easily change your stock levels. Now, while this is a really good feature, unfortunately, it is the only thing you can do in bulk. You can't update prices or product codes, anything like that in bulk. If you want to do that, you have to go back in and edit the products individually. The only thing you can do in bulk is update the stock quantity, which is better than nothing, let's be honest. So that's what it's like to manage your inventory in ShopWired. They've got a really good system set up, and as with most things within ShopWired, it doesn't take long to get used to it, get used to setting things up and working your way through it. And it's easy to create parent and subcategories, which is one thing that's really useful to me, because it allows you to create a really good product hierarchy. So what's it like to do all this in Shopify? Well, let's go and take a look. So we jump back into the Shopify dashboard, and when you click on products, it will automatically bring up a list of the existing products you've got created. As you can see, I've created a couple of test products here. And to add a new product, you just go and click the Add Product button in the top right hand corner, and it will bring up a new page. Now, once again, it's a very minimalistic page, which is a recurring theme you'll see throughout the Shopify dashboard. Everything is really simple and it's not overcomplicated. And it's a single one-page layout with just a few sections, and it is really easy to work your way through it. Now, it may be slightly easier to use than ShopWired, just slightly, but both of them have use the same kind of principles when it comes to creating a product. They've made it really simple. They haven't created too many options in there, so it's a bit confusing and a bit daunting for anybody who's new to using the platform. They've just gone for a single page layout, and they both just work. They both work really, really well. There really isn't much to choose between them. Now, when it comes to organizing your inventory, it is a little bit different between the two platforms, because as I already mentioned, ShopWired have a traditional category system, whereas Shopify have gone with a collection system, which is something they developed themselves. And as you'll see, there are two different options when it comes to organizing your products. So you'll click on Create a Collection and it'll take you into the Create Collection page. Then under collection type, you can choose whether you want it to be a manual selection or an automated one. And this is where it gets a little bit quirky, let's say. Now, the manual one works very similar to a traditional category setup in the fact that you add products to that collection. Simple, easy to use. Automated is a little bit different because it works on product tags that you create when you're editing or creating a new product. And you'll create a tag and then you can use rules based around those tags. And this is a little bit complicated to start with because there are quite a few different options in the way you can set this up. Now, it does take a while to get used to it, and it's worth reading through the documentation and watching a couple of videos on this so you can get this off to a fine art rather than trying to do it yourself to start with, because you'll probably make a few mistakes, because I know I did when I was trying to work this out. So if you want it to be the simplest way, go with the manual collection. If you want it to be the little bit more complicated way, go with the automated one. Now, another quirk with Shopify is that to create a sub-collection isn't completely straightforward. Now, with ShopWired, you can create parent and child categories really simply from the category creation page. Not so straightforward with Shopify, because as you can see, there is actually no way to create this as a parent or a sub-collection. To do that, you have to actually go into your online store, go into the navigation, edit your main menu, and then add a collection as a subsection of an existing collection within your actual navigation menu. This is how you create parent and sub collections. It's just a kind of roundabout way of doing it. Now, it does work, but it's not completely straightforward how to do it straight away. That's why I've shown you how you can do it in this video, because it's just something that unless you're used to using Shopify, you might not pick up on straight away. So that is how you can create a new product, and that's how you can create a new collection within Shopify to help organize your products. But what about when it comes to managing your products? Because this is once again something that's very, very important, especially if you've got a large inventory. Now, Shopify, very similar to ShopWired, have got a separate page for managing your inventory. And once again, this allows you to add and remove quantities within your products. So when it comes to the inventory side of things, there's really not much to choose between the two of them. But what about when it comes to managing your orders? Because this is somewhere hopefully you'll be spending most of your time, because you're going to be getting lots of sales into your new e-commerce website. So let's have a look at what it's like to do this with ShopWired. So you go back into your dashboard, click on orders, and then click on view orders. And there's quite a lot you can do in bulk, because if you select the orders, this wouldn't matter how many orders you've got, whether you've got 5, 15 or 50 orders, you can do all this in bulk. And what you can do is you can either print the orders off, or you can export them via CSV, which is good if you're using kind of third-party order management software. Or what you can do is you can mass update your order statuses. So if you've sent them all out, you've posted them all out, you can then change it to completed or dispatched. This is a really good way of managing your orders, and being able to do all of this in bulk is a massive time saver when it comes to running an e-commerce website, because if you have to do all this on an order by order basis, it can take you a long time to do. Trust me, I know, I've been there. Now, this is really good with ShopWired, and everything's just there. It's there straight away. With Shopify, it's not quite as straightforward. So let's go back into the Shopify dashboard, click on orders. And even though there is some stuff you can do in bulk, the main thing that's missing for me is that you cannot print orders off in bulk. You have to actually install an app from the Shopify App Store in order to be able to do this. This isn't a feature that's included with the native Shopify platform. And I don't get why Shopify don't include this. It's kind of boggles my mind a little bit, because it's a really basic thing, because not everybody uses third-party order management software. So it's a thing that you do actually want to do. You want to be able to print your orders off so you can start packing them and dispatch them really quickly. But what you can do in bulk from Shopify is you can fulfill orders, or you can capture payments. You can also export the orders if you want to as well. So if you are using third-party management software, it will just make life a bit easier. So that is a bit of a letdown for me on the Shopify side, is the fact that you cannot print your orders off. And also, even if you go into the orders and you print the order information off, it doesn't really print it in a format that's usable as really a dispatch note or any kind of packaging label, because it just doesn't look right. So you do need to install an additional app in order to get this working properly, which I don't understand why Shopify don't do this straight away, because it's basic e-commerce functionality to me. So that is basically the e-commerce side of both platforms, what it's like to get started, what it's like to organize your products and manage your products and manage your orders. So what's it like to customize the two websites when it comes to the aesthetics, so your design and things like that? Now, unfortunately, this is an area where ShopWired isn't particularly strong. So let's go down to themes, install themes, and let's click on the style editor. And these are the options you get. As you can see, there's not a lot you can do. All you can really change is the colors, a few text snippets and the text on some of the buttons. There's not all that much you can actually do when it comes to customizing your theme. You can't do much in terms of the layout options. It's just very almost rigid and quite restrictive, which is a bit of a letdown, because it's something that's quite important to a lot of people, is being able to have a lot of control over the aesthetics of their site. Now, this is even more of a letdown when you look at the quality of the ShopWired themes. Now, these are all made in-house and they're all free to use. And as you can see, they are really well designed. They look amazing. You can't take anything away from the actual themes that are available on ShopWired. They are all really good, and they're some of the best out there, especially the fact they're all free to use. It's just a shame that the rest of the customization just doesn't back this up. So you are a bit limited, but if there's a theme there that you really like and it fits your business, then this could be perfect for you. Now, this isn't something you have to worry about when it comes to Shopify, because Shopify is kind of renowned for being good when it comes to design. So if you go onto our online store, click on themes, and then go into the customizer, you'll see the Shopify customizer, which is arguably one of the best tools on the market, because there's so much you can do. Because you've got all these sections that are already installed, you can add sections, you can remove sections, you can also customize all the text on the site, you can customize images on the site. There's just so much you can do in terms of your homepage, what you can do in terms of layout, content, things like that. You just have so much more control over the aesthetics of your site than you do with ShopWired. Now, one thing that does let the Shopify customizer down for me is that you can only really do all this on the home page. So you've got all these great tools, being able to add and remove sections, customize the look of your site, but you can only do it on the home page. So if you try and do it onto one of your regular pages, so about me, as you'll see, all these options disappear. And if you click the edit page button, it will just take you into a basic text editor, which you can add pictures to and you can format slightly, but it still doesn't give you the control and the flexibility when it comes to design as the main customizer. So that is once again a bit of a letdown for me, that you are just limited to all these fantastic tools on the homepage. I'm surprised Shopify haven't expanded this to the rest of the site, because it would just really would take Shopify to the next level when it comes to customization. So that's what it's like when it comes to theme customization on both platforms. As you can see, Shopify does have the better options out of the two platforms. So the next thing I want to talk about is the support, because that's one of the reasons why people go for a fully hosted platform, is support that they get from the team, because they want to know that there's somebody they can phone up if they're having any problems, say, why is this happening? How can I resolve this? So let's see what both of these platforms offer. So let's go back into ShopWired. Now, ShopWired is really good when it comes to support. Now, on the basic package, you get access to standard UK support, and this is basically between the business hours, which I think is 9 till 5, Monday to Friday here in the UK. Now, one of the good things about ShopWired is that there's a support button directly within your dashboard. So you click this and it takes you straight through to their support options, and if live chat is available, you'll be able to click on that and it'll bring you up straight away, or you can send them a message, or it's not that hard to find their phone number. Now, with the emails, they will get back to you as soon as they can, as soon as they usually come in. If you send it on a Friday night, for example, you usually get replied to straight away first thing Monday morning. They are really good. I never had a problem with them when I was with them, because I actually had a ShopWired website a couple of years ago, and I never had any problems with the support. And even when I contact them now, whenever I've got any issues, they're always quick to get back to me. So the support is really, really good. And as you move up through the packages, you do get access to 24/7 emergency support as well, which is really useful. So what about in Shopify? Well, Shopify does offer 24/7 support, but actually contacting their support is a little bit difficult, because there's no immediate way to do it. It's not like ShopWired where they've got a contact button straight within the dashboard. Instead, what you have to do is click on your name up here, go down to the Shopify Help Center, which will open up the Help Center, and then scroll down to the bottom, click Contact Shopify Support, type a search term, so we'll type contact, click on search, scroll down, get help from the Shopify support team, and then it will bring up all the options. So this isn't the quickest or most straightforward way to do this, and it did actually take me a couple of times going through the help center to actually find out how to do this. It's not completely straightforward and upfront of how to contact them, but once you get here, there are lots of support options available. As you can see, you can contact them via live chat, via email, over the phone, or via Twitter. Now, they do have 24/7 support, but depending on the amount of people who are contacting them at any one time, it may be a slight delay in actually getting through to them. So you may have a wait on the live chat, or it may take them a while to actually respond to your emails. So just bear that in mind, because there's a lot of people who use the Shopify platform. But they do have some really good support options. You just have to go through and actually find out how to do it. And I've just shown you how to do that, so you can thank me later. In fact, you can thank me by hitting that like button. I would really appreciate it. So that is the two platforms. That is ShopWired versus Shopify. Now, I like both of these platforms. I think they are both a great option for building an e-commerce website. And choosing between the two is actually quite difficult because they're very similar in a lot of ways. And the only thing that you can really separate the two is that ShopWired is better when it comes to managing your orders, and Shopify is better when it comes to theme customization. That's really the only difference I can pick between the two. So choosing between the two is really, really difficult, and I definitely can't give you this one is better than this one, because one isn't clearly better than the other. They're both really good, and they're just stronger in one area than the other, and vice versa across both platforms. So as I said earlier in this video, I do recommend actually trying them out for yourself, because once you get hands-on with them and you actually use them yourself, you might find that one just clicks with you better than the other. So as I say, the partner links are in the description below. Go and check them out. And if you've enjoyed this video, as I've already said, I'd really appreciate if you could hit that like button, because it really does help the channel out. And if you do want access to more content like this, consider hitting that subscribe button and the notification bell, because I post videos like this every single week. So thanks so much for watching, guys. Stay awesome, and I'll see you all in the next video.